Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Gregory. I'm with Brett Young Seeds based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Today, I have with me one of the primary breeders for DL Seeds, Evan Gillis. Hi, Evan. Thank you for coming out. So today we're at one of the DL Seeds pod shatter tolerant rating sites here in Morden, Manitoba. DL Seeds has many of these sites across Western Canada, and the purpose of them is to rate the shatter tolerance of some of the new hybrids that carry this new pod shatter tolerance trait that DL Seeds is working with. First of all, Evan, tell us about the pod shatter tolerance trait that DL Seeds is working with.
To start off, canola's spent a lot of its evolutionary life trying to lose its seeds. So what we're trying to do is combat that by adding in a trait. What we've worked on is to work with a pathway that affects the tension around the pod. So canola really wants to release that tension and shatter its seeds for seed dispersal. But what we're trying to do is maintain that tension for a long period of time and have it gradually release over time so that the pods can stay intact for longer.
DL Seeds has been working with this trait for a number of years. Can you talk about where did it come from and what has DL Seeds' experience with this pod shatter trait been so far?
So it came from our parent companies in Europe, and it came in a canola background to us from them. And they've been working with it for many years overseas already. And in our experience in the past several years in Canada, we've seen a really reliable trait that shows the same phenotype over various conditions and over a good period of time, even after the canola is fully mature.
The breeders at DL Seeds have been working to integrate this trait into hybrids, well suited to Western Canada. What can you tell us about the experience so far?
Well, what's coming to market in 2023 is what we would call our first generation of the pod shatter resistance in canola. And we're really excited to see how competitive that is in the marketplace right now. And what we're really looking forward to in the future is the fine tuning of that first generation and the genetics around that and coming up with combinations of genes that really make that a better product and a better overall performance.
So you're trying to get that level of tolerance just right in a way. There's such thing as too much of a good thing where growers might have difficulty combining a pod shatter tolerant hybrid if there's too much pod shatter resistance.
Yeah, so we've seen that in our internal testing. We have seen some iterations of our trait which are almost too strong, and it's really difficult to set the combine, and it's really difficult to make that work. And you end up seeing yield loss because of too high a performance of a trait. So we're really trying to find that sweet spot that really works the best for farmers.
So as you mentioned, in 2023, Brett Young is launching the first hybrid with Pod DefendR, DL Seeds pod shatter tolerant trait. The hybrid is BY6217, which has performed really well this summer. What else is DL Seeds working with in terms of pipeline? So BY6217TF is in the TrueFlex platform. Mm-hmm. Are there other herbicide tolerance platforms that are coming to market?
We are excited to launch the product in the TrueFlex platform, but we do have both Liberty and Clearfield pipelines that are in development. So we're expecting those pipelines to be getting fuller and having products come to the market in the near future.
Back to the trial, the reason that we're standing out in this field today. Evan, this is one of the several sites that DL Seeds has across Western Canada, like I mentioned, where you're evaluating pod shatter tolerance of both commercial products with a pod shatter tolerance claim, but also products in DL Seeds pipeline that have the same pod shatter tolerance trait. Tell us what we're looking at here today.
So this is not really a normal trial. So what we've done out here is desiccated this trial 37 days ago. So it's been 5+ weeks out in the elements of the Manitoba fall. And we know there's always some issues around harvest. So there's been wet and dry periods, several rainfall events, several windy days. So we've really put it through the rigors this year. And we've also even brought in some artificial wind and some other artificial tests to really just see what we really have going on with this trait.
One thing that I thought was interesting is that the canola breeders, you guys have a bit of a hand test that you can actually evaluate that pod shatter tolerance in the field just simply by doing a bit of a pressure test on that pod. Can you show us actually what that looks like?
So basically, we want something that's quick and easy to do. We don't always have artificial wind or a big weather event. So we just grab some pods, and we do a little bit of a roll test. We roll to the end of the pod, and what we want to see, as in 6217 here, is a resistant variety. It really doesn't open very much, and it just has a little bit of the pod separating,
Right.
and it really hangs on. If I was to grab something a little more susceptible, and you can see most of them are broken already, but to roll one of these, it's almost immediate that it falls completely apart.
So as a quick recap this afternoon, we've been out looking at some of the work that DL Seeds is doing with their pod shatter tolerance trait we call Pod DefendR. And in 2023, Brett Young is introducing BY6217TF. This is a TrueFlex canola hybrid with Pod DefendR, next generation defender rated clubroot resistance, blackleg defender, and also has excellent yield performance for maturity. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. If you have any questions about what you've seen here today, please go to brettyoung.ca, where you can find more information on Brett Young products, as well as contact information for your local Brett Young representative. Thank you.